Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Marcus, and today's episode carries a warning so urgent and chilling that it will leave you completely speechless. Joining me today is Arthur, a 75-year-old man who experienced a sudden fatal heart attack in his home on March 3rd, 2026. Arthur was clinically dead for 15 minutes, but he wasn't asleep. He crossed over, stood in the pure light of Jesus Christ, and was shown something terrifying. He was shown a place of fire, and in that fire, he came face to face with Tariq, a ruthless supreme leader who had just died days prior. What this fallen dictator told Arthur to tell the world will shake your very foundation. Before I hand it over to Arthur, I want to ask you a quick favor. We are on a mission to reach our very first 1,000 subscribers, and we need your help to get there. If this story speaks to your heart, please hit that subscribe button and share this video so this message of warning and hope can reach more people who desperately need to hear it. Arthur, thank you so much for being here. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcus. My name is Arthur, and I am 75 years old. I died for 15 minutes, and I saw Tariq, the supreme leader of a radical regime, in hell. And this is what he told me to tell the world. I need you to sit down for this. I need you to put your phone away. I need you to close everything else you have open, because what I am about to tell you is not a dream. It is not the imagination of an old man who has watched too many documentaries. What I am about to tell you happened to me. It happened in my home in Boston. It happened on the 3rd of March, 2026, and I have not been the same man since. I am 75 years old. I have lived long enough to have seen things. I fought in wars that younger generations only read about in textbooks. I have lost friends. I have lost a wife. I have watched the world change in ways I never thought I would live to see. I am not a man who frightens easily. I am not a man given to exaggeration. My children will tell you that. My pastor will tell you that. The doctors at the hospital will tell you that. But on the 3rd of March, 2026, something happened to me that broke every framework I had built around what I thought I knew about life, about death, and about the judgment of God. It was just past noon. I was sitting in my living room armchair, the old brown one my daughter keeps threatening to throw away. I had just finished a light lunch. There was nothing unusual about the day. The television was on low outside. It was a quiet afternoon. And then, without any warning at all, I felt something I cannot fully describe. A pulling sensation in the center of my chest, like something reaching in and squeezing. My vision went dark at the edges. I tried to call out, I couldn't, and then I was gone. The paramedics later told my daughter that when they arrived, I had no pulse. My heart had stopped. Clinically, for approximately 15 minutes, Arthur was dead. But I was not unconscious. I was not sleeping. I was somewhere else entirely. The first thing I noticed was the light, not the harsh white light you see in hospital corridors. This was a warm, deep, golden light, the kind that doesn't come from any source you can point to. It simply is. And standing in that light was a figure. I cannot give you dimensions. I cannot give you a color code for his robe or tell you the exact shade of his eyes. What I can tell you is that every part of me, my bones, my blood, every memory I had ever carried knew exactly who he was. It was Jesus, the Lord Jesus Christ, standing before me with a calmness that made everything I had ever been anxious about in my entire 75 years feel laughably small. He did not speak to me the way you and I are speaking right now. His words came like understanding, like something unlocking inside you that was always there but locked behind the door you never had the key for. He said to me, Arthur, I am showing you something. You will return and you will speak. And then he turned and I followed his gaze. What I saw next, I want you to understand that I did not want to see it. There was no satisfaction in it. There was no feeling of triumph. What I saw filled me with a grief so heavy that even now, sitting here speaking to you, I struggle to carry it. I saw a place of fire. Not fire the way we think of fire, not the orange flames licking at wood. This was a fire that had consciousness, that had intention. It burned in every direction, and within it there were figures, souls, and the sound. I will not describe the sound. It is not something any human voice should have to describe. And in that place I saw him. I recognized him immediately, though I had only ever seen him on news screens. Tariq, the supreme leader of a ruthless theocratic regime, the man who just days before, on the 28th of February 2026, had died and left the entire geopolitical world in a spiral of speculation and uncertainty. He was there in that fire, and he saw me. Now, I want to stop here for one moment and address something before I continue. I am not a political man. I am not standing here with an agenda. I am not affiliated with any government, any intelligence agency, any media organization, or any political party. I am a 75-year-old retired man who had a heart attack in his armchair and went somewhere he did not expect to go. If I could have come back from that experience without telling this story, I would have, because I know what people will say. I know how this sounds, but Jesus told me to speak. And at 75 years old, having just stood in the presence of the living God, I am far more afraid of disobeying him than I am of what any person on this earth thinks of me. He looked at me, and I understood the same way I understood Jesus, that he could speak to me, that this was permitted, that this was the entire reason I was shown this place. Before I tell you the chilling words this fallen leader spoke to me from the flames, if this testimony is opening your eyes, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. We are pushing hard to hit our 1,000 subscriber goal, and every single one of you matters. Also, please share this video with someone who might be lost in their own pride or thirst for power right now. They need to hear this next part. He did not look powerful. The man who had commanded armies, who had held an entire nation under his ideology for decades, who had been the face of an empire, that man was gone. What I saw was a soul stripped of every title, every rank, every piece of earthly armor. Just a man, terrified, burning, undone. And he said this to me, "I am giving you his words as close as I can carry them back. I taught them the wrong God. I told an entire generation that their suffering was obedience. I told them that death in my name was paradise. I told them that the enemies I chose were the enemies of heaven. I used the name of God like a sword for my own power, and I called it righteousness. I told young men and young women to die for a lie, and I dressed that lie in Scripture, and I convinced myself that I believed it." He stopped, and then he said something that shook me to my core. "The people I persecuted in his name, I now understand they were his. The ones I called heretics, the ones I imprisoned for worshiping differently, the ones whose churches I helped destroy. I did not fight enemies of God, I fought the children of God, and I will burn with that knowledge for eternity." He looked at me with eyes that held no more pride, no more doctrine, no more justification. And then he said, "Tell the world no man who uses God's name to hold power over other people is serving God. No leader who places himself between the people and heaven is a servant of heaven. They are servants of themselves. And the fire knows the difference even when the world does not." And then it was over. I was back. I was on my living room floor with my daughter screaming my name and paramedics pressing on my chest. I came back gasping, confused, and weeping. My daughter thought I was in pain. I was not in pain. I was weeping because of what I had seen and what I had been asked to carry. I have spent the last several days in a hospital bed and then in a chair by my window at home asking God whether I should truly say this publicly. I am an old man. I do not have a large platform. I do not have a television show or a congregation of thousands. I am just Arthur. But he said to speak, and so I am speaking. Here is what I want to leave you with, because this is ultimately not about one man in hell. This is not about global politics or who replaces who on a world stage. This is about something far more urgent and far more personal. Every single one of us will stand somewhere after this life ends. Every single one of us will be stripped of our titles, our bank accounts, our reputations, our social media followings, our accomplishments, and our excuses. Every wall we built between ourselves and accountability will come down. The man I saw in that fire did not go there because of his nationality. He did not go there because of his ethnicity or his culture or the country he was born in. He went there because of what he chose to do with power, because of what he did with the name of God, because of the blood on decisions that he made in the full knowledge that they would hurt people. And he made them anyway. And Jesus showed him to me not so that I could come back and say, look, he got what he deserved. Jesus showed him to me so that I could come back and say, it is real. The judgment is real. The fire is real. And there is still time for those of you still breathing to choose differently. There is still time to stop using God as a weapon. There is still time to stop hiding your hunger for power behind the language of faith. There is still time to lay down whatever false authority you have constructed over other people and to walk genuinely into the mercy that is still being extended to every living soul on this earth. I am 75 years old. I have maybe a few good years left, God willing. I do not say that with sadness. I say it with the strange, quiet peace of a man who has seen what waits on the other side and has come back grateful. Grateful that I came back at all, and grateful that I came back knowing what I now know. The words of Revelation 20:12 say, "And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works." According to their works, not according to their titles, not according to what they declared themselves to be, not according to who followed them or feared them, according to their works. I am Arthur. I am 75 years old. I died for 15 minutes. I stood in the light of Jesus Christ, and I looked into a place no living person should have to see, and I came back with a message that is not mine. It belongs to whoever is watching this and still has time to hear it. Choose mercy. Choose truth. Choose the God who liberates, not the one that men invented to control you. Your eternity depends on the choice you make while you are still here. Thank you so much for letting me share this deeply personal journey with you today. If this message has brought you any comfort, clarity, or a necessary wake-up call, please help us grow by subscribing to the channel. Reaching our milestone of 1,000 subscribers will allow us to bring even more of these life-changing stories to light. And please, hit that share button to send this video to your family and friends. You never know whose eternity might be transformed by hearing this truth. God bless you, and may His truth be the loudest voice you ever hear.